Assalamualaikum and hello. Today we will learn the last chapter of these courses, which is object-oriented programming. Okay, let's talk about object-oriented programming. Okay, so we talk about the procedural programming, which is a list of instructions to perform a task. It has no association between function and the data they operate on. Okay, example of program language is Fortran and C++. Okay, but what about object-oriented programming? Okay, here it is a program paradigm organized around object with data and associate function. Okay, so data, you know that the state. Okay, function is behavior, and program language is this one. Okay, so why we use object-oriented programming? Because of the modularity, abstraction, reuse, code maintenance, code expression, increased code understanding, data encapsulation, and logic encapsulation. Okay, so basically this is all just a theory. Okay, so object orientation programming fundamental. So what is class? Class is a template for creating object, okay, defining properties and method, as well as default value and behavior. So that is class. Object is the instance of class that has state, properties, and behavior or method. So properties is the data associated with an object. Okay, basically the variable. Then method, or also known as function or behavior. Class associated with the object, the operation. So attribute, modified behavior of classes and class component. Okay, inheritance is the object or class subclass derived from another object or class. Polymorphism also is a single interface to entire entities of different type. So this one is also a theory, just a definition. So what is object-oriented programming in MATLAB? Okay, it is full support in MATLAB 2008 and above. Okay, dot notation work in 2014 and above. So MATLAB 2005A has introduced additional functionality in terms of editing capability. Okay, don't worry, this is just an introduction. You will see the example later. So what is a class and object? So a class, remember that a class is a template for idea or items. It composed of definition of a data structure method that operate in the data structure. So an object is actually instance of the class. Okay, to use class, one only need to know to interface to the class. Okay, so object-oriented terminology. Okay, you know the class. Okay, it is just outline of the idea, properties, and method. Object is the specific example of the class. Okay. So for this class, MATLAB OPP, we focus on the class, property, constructor, method, static method, constant properties, private properties, handle, and value classes. So we will not look at this. So we start with the example. Okay, so how to define a class? Okay, so you use this code, class def. Okay, and then you give the name to the class. Okay, and then you save it in the M file here. Okay, so if your name give the class name is my rectangle, so the name needs to be my rectangle.m. Okay, so you have properties and method. Okay, so defining the properties. Okay, basically the property is the internal state of the class saved as properties of the class. no need to define the type of each property. You can access the property using, or property or method using the dot operator. So for example here, you have create a class called myRectangle, and the property, it has width and height. Okay, so you can define the property here. So create an object R class rectangular as follow. So R equals to myRectangle, and you get properties, okay, width and height. So you put R, okay, dot width, okay, you will insert this, okay. So this is how you define an object. Okay, I will show you with the MATLAB after this. So when you want to do this, you have to create a, okay, so you copy it and paste it here. Okay, so basically class def, the name of the function. So I repeat, this is the name of the class. Okay, so if you're using function, usually function is also place it here, the name of the function, but this one is the name of the class. So you can set the properties here, okay, and method. So when you save it, you have to save it as the class name. Okay, make sure you use the class name. Okay, save it. Okay, and then if you look back here, you can call the function. So you want to call the call the class and save it as R instead of myRectangle. You just, okay, call the function to R. Okay, so this one you already saved, you can close it. So you want to call, instead of myRectangle, you want to, easier for you to call it back, you set it as myRectangle as R. Okay, so basically it will show the properties here. And if you want to insert it, okay, want to insert the width of the class, okay, the properties, you want to change it, you just write R dot width, R, okay, R here dot width. So basically you can see it in here. Okay, you see here it is R. Okay, you can see the width and height. So let me clear this first. So I clear this, clear this. Okay, so R, for example here, R equals to my rectangle. Okay, so it will create here. Okay, this one. So there will be height and width, width and height, but the value is empty. Okay, you can see here it is empty. Okay, so you can just put something like this. Okay, it will make it empty. And when you want to set it, R dot width equals to 5. Okay, so it will be set. So let me show you this. Okay, and I enter this, automatically it will change. Okay, so next part will be defining a constructor. Okay, so basically you already see the properties. Now we look at the method, the second part of the class. Okay, so defining a constructor, an object is created by invoking a special method known as constructor. Okay, so in the method part, you have to create a constructor. So constructor is a function with similar name with the object. Okay, if no constructor is defined by default, MATLAB will generate a constructor with no input argument. Okay, so how to create a constructor? You use this one. Okay, this one is the output. Of course, this one is the input. This is the function name, similar to the object. Okay, make sure the name is similar to the object. Okay, I will show you in the next slide. So you already create here. Okay, remember we continue until here, and then you put the method here and you put the constructor. Okay, so you have the output, and make sure, okay, this name is similar to this. Okay, this is important. So object dot width equals to w. Okay, object of height, so this is the object. Okay, height is equal to hash. Okay, so input is w and hash. Okay, so defining a constructor. Okay, so below is how the object we define constructor is created in the command window. So you can see here, if you put r equals to my rectangle 3 2, okay, it will produce something like this. Okay, 3 and 2. So it will define automatically width and height is 3 and 2. But if you already set a constructor but you forget to input the input, okay, it will be error. Okay, see this one. Okay, with the user defined constructor, setting value for the object properties can be done straight when the creating an object. Okay, okay, so you can see here, so you create an object here, object.width equals to w, object of hash equals to w. Basically the output is obj. Okay, so don't make sure this name and this name is the same, and then this is the constructor. Of course, the another method here in the example here, there are two methods: get area, okay, and scale. So get area is basically return the area of the object of my rectangle. So basically area A, okay, A is equals to get area. Okay, this is the name of the function. So put the object here. So you call back the object. Okay, object go here. So A equals to object dot width multiplied by object dot height. Okay, and don't forget the end. When it comes to function, you have to end properties also, and method also, and okay, class also, and okay. So function here, okay, and if you want to find the scale, okay, scale version. So object, okay, equals to scale object and n. So object width and multiplied by object width. Okay, so you have new input here. You call back the object here. Okay, and you update the object. Okay, that is when you want to scale it up. So if you already define everything, you can run this class. So you already saved the my rectangle. Okay, first you have to insert the value first here. Okay, so you insert 2 and 3. Okay, and then okay, this is the first one, you create it, and secondly you can get the area. So basically you just call back get area. So area equals to a dot get area. You get the answer. And if you want to get the thirdly scale version of the a by 2 scale compute is this one. Okay, so you want to get area, the scale here. Okay, you will get the answer. Okay, let me show you how to do this. Okay, so of course you continue with the my rectangle. Okay, you already create this, but you update the code here. Okay, so in the object here, in the class here, okay, in the class my rectangle, you have this one, and then you have a method of calculating area and scale. Okay, So you save it. Okay, of course, firstly, if you want to use the function, okay, for example here, of course, first thing you have to do is define the properties. Okay, so if you want to use the my rectangle, of course, you have to define the properties. Okay, this is the properties here. Okay, how to define the properties here? This one. So you have two input. Okay, this one is the constructor. So you have two input and you create an object. So this one you have to apply with the constructor first. So let me run this. Okay. Okay. Now my rectangle is saved as A. Okay. So you already define two entry here, width and height. Okay. You already defined the properties. Now, how to call the method here? How to get the area? So to get the area, you just write get area. Okay, because okay, remember this name of the function is get area. Okay, and you have to call the object. So since okay, so how to call the area? You just area here. Okay, wait, okay, automatically it will run this get area function. Okay, a objective this one. Okay, since you save it as a, okay, make sure, okay, if you can see here, okay, this is the object properties, this is the area. Okay, and a dot get area. Okay, so this is the parameter. Okay, width and height. You receive this, and dot get area means that you call this method. Okay, from the object width and object height. Okay, and then how to call the scale? So you can see here, B is the scale. Okay, so let me show you half of it first. Okay, you can see here A is 2 and 3. Okay, if you run this, basically you multiply with the scale. Okay, so let me enter this. Automatically, instead of 2 and 3, it becomes 4 and 6. Okay, so let me clear this, clear everything. Okay, this one also clear everything. Okay, we run back the program. Okay, my rectangle here. Okay, you define it, and because you want to get the area, you have to scale it first and you get the area. So you can call two functions at once. Okay, so you can, okay, basically you will run this first. Okay, you run this first. Okay, from this object you run it first, it will scale it down, scale it up, and then you multiply by the area. Okay, okay, defining a constant properties. Okay, so if you have a property that is constant here, okay, if you don't want people to mess with the properties, you can write the properties and you can add the constant. Okay, open bracket constant, close bracket. So you say pi is equal to this one. Okay, when you define something like this, if you put here and dot a pi is equals here, and if you want to change it, it is set to read only, so you cannot change the object. Okay, so this is how you want to make sure that the constant cannot be changed. you just put properties open bracket constant. Okay, for the next part, last part is the basically read only constant. You cannot change it. But how about if they don't want to people to know what is these properties? Okay, the properties of the value. Okay, you don't want people to see the function you make. Okay, so you can use here properties access private. Okay, automatically it will show with no properties. So basically after you run this, usually they show you what is the properties available, but if you set something like this, it will not show the properties. Okay, so the next example is the object array. Okay, so what is object array? So basically you create an object which has multiple properties. Okay, you have 4 properties. Okay, you have 1 constant and 1 private properties. Okay, and then your user defined constructor that accept height and height. Okay, user defined constructor that accept. Okay, so you have to create a constructor that can accept width and height. Okay, and the constructor also set the value for properties in one. Okay, so you have 4 properties. Okay, you have 2 user defined constructor match, and then you have to create another 2, and one method that can use to trim the my rectangular object according to the constant and the private value. So basically this is the combination of what you have learned about the OB. Okay, so let's do this in the next slide. Okay, so first thing you need to do is, of course, to create a class called my rectangle, and remember you have 4 properties. Okay, which is width, height, area, and parameter, and don't forget to end the properties. Okay, so you complete the first task, and then the next task you have to create a constant. Okay, so trim length. Okay, trim length. Okay, so basically this value cannot be changed, so properties constant close bracket. So don't forget constant C is capital letter. Okay, you complete the second task. Okay, next task is the private attribute access. So basically you cannot see these properties. So minimum trim. So minimum trim properties is 4. So basically if you don't want people to see the properties, you just put access equals to private. Okay, and don't forget A is capital letter, and don't forget the N. So basically you have list down all the properties in the object, okay, in the class, okay, here. Okay, so now for the next part is you make a constructor. Remember that the question asks you to create a constructor, okay, user defined, which has width and height. Okay, you have width and height. So of course you have to create a constructor. Okay, let me delete this first. Okay, you have width and height, and then you have to create an object. So you can see here you have to create an object constructor. Okay, you can call anything actually this one, but I suggest you just call object obj. So you insert the user defined value. So object width, so you insert here. Okay, object height, you insert the height, and of course you have to define, because in your properties you have width and height, area and perimeter. Okay, when you have area and perimeter, you have to calculate it. Okay, so you can see here object area dot area is object dot width multiplied by object of height. Okay, this one. Okay, And then object parameter, which is the length of the side or all side. So basically 2 multiplied by width and 2 multiplied by height. So don't forget the object. So when it comes to constructor, you have to put the object. Okay, complete. And now you have to do the method. Okay, function trimming. Okay, so when it comes to trimming, okay, object trim. If object width more than minimum trim, so this one is the minimum trim. Okay, so it can object width equals to object width minus 2 object trim length. Okay, so basically this one. Okay, so this is if you want to call the trim function. So let us do the next slide. Okay, remember that I say you have to insert the value first. Okay, insert the value. Okay, a equals to my rectangle. Okay, so basically you insert the value of width and height. Okay, so rectangle array. Okay, you can see here rectangle array equals to a trim. Okay, basically you call back the function at the bottom and the properties will become 0 because it is larger than the minimum. Okay, remember the minimum is 4, width minimum is 4, so it cannot run. But if you call back with the rectangle array 2, okay, it can produce the output. Okay, let me show you. So let us copy the function inside the 23. Okay, so I paste it here, save it, and okay, so clear this and clear this. Okay, so you call this function back, a equals to this one. Okay, okay, yeah, because we want to see the result, you remove the semicolon. So you can see here 5 7. So this is the input. Because of the constructor width and height, automatically it will create the properties here, the properties that you can see, which is width, height, area, parameter, and of course the constant also will be shown 1. Okay, so based on this, the constructor will create a object here. Okay, update the object. Okay, and then you create a rectangle array. Okay, okay, for this one, if you create this, it's basically empty first. Okay, sorry, the previous okay, explanation is not too clear. Okay, basically you just create a rectangular array a dot trim. Okay, where is it? Okay, this one, a dot trim object. Okay, and the object is a. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, this is the original one. This is the new one. Okay, okay, you can see here this. So basically, okay, this one. Okay, so you can see here rectangle array. It will create a rectangle array here equals to a, and okay, a is this one, and a trim. Okay, so you can see here a is this one, A is 5, 7, 35, 24, 1. Okay, the first one also will be the same. Okay, it is the same. But how about number 2? So number 2, okay, array, because the first one is A, but the second one is A dot trim. So basically, at the second one, you call the function trim. Okay, if the object width is more than object minimum trim, which is 4, this one, which is larger, right? So this is true. Okay, and then object width equals to object width minus 2 multiplied by object trim length. So what it means that, okay, let me click here, and this one and this one. Okay, you can see here, this is the original width. Okay, you multiply by minus 2. Okay, remember the equation 2, so it will become this. Okay, but the rest is still not calculated. Okay, so this is, okay, it's still not calculated. Okay, and if you want to call back the answer for number 2, okay, here, okay, because this one is located at the second place, so you can just call the rectangle array number 2. Okay, this is how you call the function. Okay, sorry about this. This topic is a bit confusing, but I think you can try to understand it. So we move on to the next part of the study, which is graphic object. Okay, if you remember figure, axis, and line. So basically, this one is also something like a class. So this is the MATLAB function that is already available in the MATLAB. Okay, so if you want to call this object back, okay, it has its own properties inside, so you can call it back and you can modify it. So if you want to call this object in figure, you just put f equals to figure. Okay, if you want to get the axis object of the axis, okay, you can put this. And if you want to get the line object from the plot, okay, you can put something like this. Okay, you can pause the video and slide in your attendance. Okay, so this is an example of user-defined function to create a plot inside another plot. Okay, if you want to create a plot inside another plot, you can use graphics object. So let me clear this first. So you create a function here, plot in plot. Okay, the function name is called is plot in plot. So you have x, xy, x in, y in. So basically, x in, y in, x the blush. This is the large plot. This is the plot inside the plot. Okay, so this one, okay, average mean y1, this one, okay, and then you call the function object here, the axis project, okay, this one, okay, and you plot it and you plot in. Okay, so for this one, no need to worry too much. Okay, you can try to understand it. Okay, you can try to do this. Okay, make sure you save the plot in plot first. The plot in plot function is a user-defined function. Okay, user-defined function, you have to save it first. Okay, let us copy this function. Okay, and you have to create a new script, save the function, and don't forget to save according to the name of the function, which is this one. plot in plot. Okay, so make sure the name needs to be the same, this one and this one. Okay, so after you save it, and you can close this, and of course to call the function back you have to write this. Okay, you have to first x is from -10 to 40 with the step of 0.005. Okay, and this is the function 1, function 2. Okay, and this is you call back the function. So let me run this. Okay, okay, so I run this, step it. Okay, I create a x. Okay, and I create y1 and y2. Okay, so now I call the plugin. So I used a step in. So step in if you want to run inside the function. So if you want to run inside the function, you call step in. Okay, it will open the function. You can see one by one the effect of the code. So average, of course, this one mean. Okay, so let me run this. Basically, it will calculate the average. Okay, mean y. Okay, mean y multiply by once length of y. So this one. Okay, basically it show the same value, the mean value. Okay, and it is the size of the y. Okay, then y in, of course, the same thing. Once means that you just create a metric with the size of row 1, length of this one. Okay, length. Okay, the size of it, same size, and you just create once and multiply with mean means that it will follow this. Okay, and then you call the object here figure. Okay, you call the objects because you want to know the properties. Okay, let me delete this. Okay, step. Okay, so no effect. Okay, it will create a figure. Okay, name, plot in the plot. Okay, you can give the name here, plot in the plot, and it will create the hash figure. You can know the object inside the hash figure. Okay, this one. Oh, so for this one you cannot open. So basically, okay, hex also you cannot open it. It will goes to properties inspector here. Okay, and then hexin. Okay, for the axis. Okay, also okay, axis figure. Okay, for this one you create another. This one you create another figure. Okay, so this one you just create a function here. Okay, this one label, title. Okay, this one is standard one. Okay, now P2, you can see here P2 dot line. So plot number 2, you can see here you plot X, this one, this one, this one, this one, right? So your object here plot line style, you can change it by using this code. So basically the object line style, you can change it here. Okay, pin. Okay, pin is here for the inside plot. Okay, this is how you can adjust the properties of an object, the graphical object. Okay, so this one, okay, this one the tick. Okay, you can use the tick. Okay, and so on. Okay, this is how you manipulate the object in the graphic. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, you can plot inside the plot. So plot inside the plot, you can use that code. Okay, so let us look some practice. You can try to do the practice here. So I give you 15 minutes, okay, 10 minutes or to 15 minutes to try this tutorial. So basically you have to create a class called person, and you have the properties of the person is weight, height, name, age, gender. Okay, you have to create a constructor for the name, weight, and height. And then you have to add the method called the BMI, and then test the class and add documentation to the class. So basically you have add documentation means that you add this. Okay, so try to do this, practice it, okay, before we continue. Okay, okay, try yourself first. Okay, and if you still cannot do this, okay, you can add a new script. Okay, so first thing you have to create class def. Okay, class def is called person, and don't forget to end it. Okay, okay, save it according to the name of the class. Okay, so you have already create the person object, this one. Okay, and then you have to take in the properties, pro per. Okay, so properties. Okay, so in the properties you need to have weight, you need to have height. Okay, this one. Okay, weight, height, age, name. Okay, weight, age, name. Okay, don't forget to this one, weight, height, name, age, and gender. Okay, and then don't forget and. Okay, and then you have to add a constructor that takes the following thing. Okay, so of course, so methods, methods. Okay, don't forget it is SS, properties and methods ends. Okay, so inside here you have to create a constructor, okay, that receive, okay, name, weight, and height. Okay, so function obj objects equals to, okay, of course you have to call the same name as the class person. Okay, so you have to insert name, okay, weight, or you just use n, w, and hash. Okay, so in this function you have to define obj, okay, okay, obj dot weight. Okay, so name first, name equals to n. Where is n? N. And then okay, this thing you need to make sure this is the same thing. Dot object dot what is next? Weight, ht. Okay, weight equals to weight, and lastly obj dot hash EIGHT, and make sure this thing is the same as this thing, okay, the object. So equals to hash. So this is the constructor, okay, and of course don't forget the end, okay. So basically this is a constructor, okay, and then you have to create a method, okay, a method called BMI. Okay, now you create a method which is BMI. Okay, the function, okay, function obj equals to, okay, okay, you have to make sure this one and this one is the same, okay. For example, I call this BMI, okay, BMI, okay, obj. Okay, how to calculate BMI? Maybe BMI, okay, BMI cal, okay, don't forget the n. Okay, BMI is equals to, okay, so how to calculate BMI? Okay, no need to worry, the equation usually will be given. So weight, of course, obj weight divided by height divided by height. Okay, so okay, that's it. The method is only here. Okay, so I save this. Okay, I can close this. So test the class. Okay, so test the class. Okay, how to test the class? So maybe you can call this B equals to person, which is the name of the class, this one, person. Okay, you have three input. Okay, name is Ali, for example. Okay, weight, for example, 70, height, for example, 150, enter. Okay, so basically the properties of the person is 70, 150, and name Ali. So how to call back this? Okay, so how to call it? Okay, how to call to get the BMI? So basically BMI is equals to, okay, BMI call, right? So let me check first. So this one, BMI call, the name of the function method inside there. Okay, so BMI call, open bracket, close bracket, and of course you save it as B, right? So B dot BMI call. Okay, so is there any I forget the C, right? Yeah, CLC. Okay, so this is the correction. Automatically you get the BMI. Okay, is it correct? Oh, because it needs to be in meter. Okay, so 150 meter. So this is not logic. Basically it should be 1.5. Okay, so that is how you do this tutorial. Okay, okay, this is the two reference that you can use if you want to study more on the OPP in MATLAB. Okay, okay, that's it for today. So we have completed chapter 14 and also completed the course. So for conclusion, you already learned today how to create a class or object. Okay, and then you create the properties of the object. Okay, you have general properties. Okay, a constant properties that cannot be changed, and attribute. Okay, attribute, which is the hidden properties. Okay, so also you learn about the constructor. So if you have multiple you have input to the object or class, so you have the input, how to relate the input to the properties. Okay, and then you learn about how to create the method. Okay, based on the objective, based on the properties. Okay, and lastly you also learn that inside the MATLAB there are also the object. Okay, the graphical object that you can manipulate. Okay, that's it for today. Okay, congratulations, you already finished the class. Okay, so make sure you study, because for final it will cover all chapter. Okay, the detail of for the final exam I will give you later. Okay, so next week, if not mistaken, there will be no class because it is a public holiday. So the next week, next week I will try to try to do some revision for your final. Okay, if the question already finished, I will try to do some revision that targeted according to the final exam. So make sure you check the Telegram to see the update. Okay, this is all for me. Okay, congratulations, can see you soon.